this kid gets paired with the laziest person in class for a group project, and he decides to handle it in the most savage way possible. They're supposed to be splitting the work 50-50. 50-50. So he messages his partner one night, "Hey, you want to do the research for the slides?" The next day he responds, "I don't know, you pick what I do." So the guy decides to split it in half. "Alright, I emailed you half the slides, send me yours when you're done." Because that sounds fair, but then after that, radio silence. "Yo bro, did you finish?" Nothing. He tries talking to him during school. "Hey dude, gotta go man." The heck? It's the night before the project. "Yo man, are you done?" Partner responds, "Yeah, don't worry about it." Presentation day, they're up third, and this guy's got his part ready to go. Clean, put together. He did his research, he's solid. His partner shows up with nothing. Literally nothing. "Bro, where's your part? I thought we're just gonna wing it." The teacher calls him up. "Okay, let's see what you two have." They stand up and this kid goes first. He goes to his slides. "Okay, so we each did half of the work. I'm gonna go first." He presents it flawlessly. He's confident, well-researched, and then he looks to his partner. "All right, man, your turn." He freezes. The partner gets up there to try to wing it, and he presses the button to go to the next slide. And all the slide said was, "This section was assigned to Carlos." Bro, you didn't do it? You didn't do your part? No. He gets full credit. Yes. You get 0. And the kid sat down, proud of himself, while his partner stood up there completely shocked. The rest of the class just laughed. Yo, that's savage. This kid got his invisibility cloak stolen. There was this one kid at this one school who wore a neon construction vest every day. It wasn't for hunting. He thought it made him invisible. One day he's walking through the hallway wearing the vest like usual, and this bigger kid just rips it off of him. Now, you see, usually most people let this kid vibe, because obviously he knew it didn't make him invisible, but it made him feel better. But anyway, so it was stolen off his back, and he felt like he had been exposed to the world for the first time. He won't move, and kids are walking around him. He's legitimately stuck because in his mind, without that vest, he is visible and vulnerable. So this one janitor sees what's going on. He walks straight up to this bully. "Hey!" Holds out his hand. The bully tries to laugh it off, but this janitor doesn't blink. He just stares him down until the bully gives the vest back. The janitor hands it back to the kid. The kid puts it on and walks away. And just like that, he was invisible once again. Here's what happens when you sell snacks to a rich kid. This guy's running a locker snack business to save up for a computer. Well, one kid ordered a bag of hot Cheetos and a Gatorade. Easy transaction. So he brings it to this kid's locker, and the kid looks at the Cheetos all weird. "Yo, man, this bag is way too wrinkled." Okay, I'll go grab a fresh one for you." So he runs back to his locker and grabs a fresh bag. He comes back, and now this kid's saying the Gatorade's wrong. Also, dude, this is the wrong flavor Gatorade. You said blue Gatorade. I did not say blue Gatorade. He said blue Gatorade. Well, while he's standing there, you know what, it's fine, I'll take it. Okay. Well, the kid's standing there waiting to get paid when the rich guy starts showing his friends pictures of the yacht his parents just bought. "Hey, Kevin, Deacon, check this out, man. That's a big boat." It's my parents. "Hey, can I get the money?" Jeez. Impatient, are we? Fine, here. He takes the money, he goes. The next day, the rich kid stops him in the hallway. "Hey, yo, dude, those Cheetos were stale yesterday. I want a full refund." The Cheetos weren't stale, they were brand new. But he didn't know what to say, so he just refunded the guy. He says it doesn't matter. He's sure karma will catch up to this kid one day. Here's what happens when you're a frickin' Karen. This lady's about to board a flight. She storms up to the counter and is waving her phone in the agent's face. Hi, yeah, I paid for priority, and that better mean something good." Well, the desk agent said, "Ma'am, yes, this is Economy Plus, so you'll be boarding in Group 2. Just a few minutes, okay?" Now, boarding hadn't even begun yet, but this lady loses it. I'm pretty sure I paid for a better plane ticket. You know what? I have so many followers, I'm gonna ruin you for this. This airline sucks. That's fine. Okay, I don't care. Just step back. Now, here's the thing. She threatens that she's gonna make a terrible video about the airline to ruin their reputation or to get this person fired, but no one cared. The thing is, that desk agent was actually gonna upgrade somebody to first class because there was one first class seat open. But now, it definitely wasn't gonna be her. Sir. Oh, yeah? What boarding group are you? Now, he's saying this loud enough for the lady to hear. Group 6. Well, it's your lucky day. I'm upgrading you to first class. And ma'am, I'm downgrading you to Group 6. Now, this entire time, a bunch of other passengers were watching this thing go down. They were invested, and they cheered. What? Stop clapping! Screw you! And she threw a fit, and she was thrown out of the airport. Good. Here's what happens when you sell fake hall passes for 2 weeks at school. This kid Tyler was running an entire business. He'd been selling hall passes for basically anybody that wanted to skip class. $5 a pop. The passes, they looked legit as well. Official watermark, teacher signatures, the whole deal. Everyone thought he had some kind of connection to the front office, and he wouldn't sell too many at one time because he didn't want the school to get suspicious, so it was a limited supply he would sell per month. Well, this quiet girl named Maya, hi, I'm Maya, she'd been watching this whole thing go down for weeks. She never said anything, she just observed. Well, one day, she sees Tyler drop one of the passes on the ground. So she picks it up, looks at it for a second, and then puts it in her pocket. Now, she wasn't going to say anything about it. She's like, this is none of my business, let him do what he's doing. Well, the next day, Tyler tries to sell her a hall pass. No thanks, I'm okay. But then Tyler starts clowning her in front of the whole class. You're such a teacher's pet. You too scared to get one of these? Well, here's what Tyler didn't know. Maya's mom literally works for the school office, and she's the one that designs all official school documents. So Maya knows exactly what a real hall pass looks like, down to the specific font and paper stock. Now, like I said, she wasn't gonna snitch on him, but now she is. She takes the hall pass that she found, goes to the principal, and breaks down everything wrong with it. The font is off, the signature's been traced, and this is the wrong paper. This is basic paper from Staples. Principal takes a few days to investigate, pulls up some security footage, and catches Tyler selling these hall passes multiple times. Tyler got a 2-week suspension, and Maya didn't say a word about it to anybody. Nobody knew she snitched. She just went right back to being quiet. That's why you gotta be careful who you disrespect. Somebody might ruin you. The school banned dodgeball because it was way too violent. Parents were complaining that their kids were getting hurt. So the gym teacher came up with a brand new game, a safer game. It's called Complimentary Catch. Everyone sits in a circle and tosses a foam ball around. When the ball gets to you, you have to give somebody else in the circle a compliment.
Billy, I like your nose.
The students gave it a shot, but eventually they were like, this is the dumbest thing ever. They lasted about 1 week until they had enough. One kid gathered some people. Guys, we're not doing this anymore. He rallied the entire grade to skip gym class the next day. And word spread like wildfire through the hallways. When gym period rolled around, not a single student showed up.
All right, who's ready for some compliments?
Where is everyone? At that very moment, practically every single student in the grade was out in the back field. They split into 2 massive teams, and they brought out all the dodgeballs. And they started the biggest dodgeball war that school had ever seen. It was beautiful. Kids were diving, dodging, launching balls from every direction. The principal and every single teacher made their way outside to see what was going on. And there's like 150 kids playing a huge game of dodgeball in rebellion. Everyone tried to blow their whistle. They tried to break this game up, but they couldn't. The dodgeball game lasted for an hour and a half. When it finally ended, the students just walked back inside, and they accepted whatever punishment came their way. Next week, dodgeball was reintroduced back into gym time. That's crazy. Everybody called this one kid weird. Habos Cabolinda. He didn't talk much, he ate lunch by himself, always wore the same hoodie. Then there was this other kid named Mason. And Mason wasn't just a bully, he was the biggest bully in school. I'm kind of the frickin' man. He would flip people's ears in the hallway, kick people's shins for no reason. He would sometimes give kids actual swirlies in the toilet. Well, one morning, Mason's at his locker before first period, and he grabs the combination lock. He feels something. He looks at his fingers. It's brown. Thick. He sniffs it. What is this? Someone yells, bro, why are your hands brown? What is that smell? Bro's got poop on his hands. Mason starts wiping it on his jeans, but it just makes it worse. Now his jeans are brown. Dude, you're gross! Turns out, somebody covered the combination lock to his locker with dog poop that morning. By third period, everyone's calling Mason Poop Hands. Yo, you see that guy? That's Poop Hands! And that nickname sticks for 2.5 years. And guess who was the person that put the poop on that locker? The weird kid. I know I'm weird. Sometimes people need to be humbled. He didn't tell people about that for years, but when they heard, they all thought he was a legend, and people still call the bully Poop Hands every now and then. Kid, let's call him Steven. He spent an entire year saving up. We're talking birthday money, pulling weeds, every $5 bill he could find. He didn't use that money to buy games or food or candy or nothing. He bought a gallon of slate gray paint, some shelves, a desk, and some other things. He spent his entire spring break sanding the floors of his room, painting the walls, setting up his desk and his computer, all by himself. By the time he was done, he had the best room in the entire house. I did it. Steven then went to a 3-day science camp. Well, on Sunday, when it was over, he gets dropped off back at his house, and he enters through the garage. And in the garage, he sees it. His desk, his bed, his shelves, just sitting there in the middle of the garage. What is going on? So he sprints upstairs. Well, the door to his room is locked, and he hears music coming from it. Well, his sister finally opens it. The gray paint was gone. It had been covered in a cheap coat of white, and his sister's ring light was right by the window. Her bed was there, with pink bedding. It was completely different. That's when his dad came out. Oh yeah, son, by the way, we moved your stuff out of your room. We figured your sister could have a better use for it. You see, his sister was a wannabe TikTok content creator, and he said her content was suffering because her old room had no natural light. And since Steven fixed up the room so nicely, it was the perfect studio for her. Where am I supposed to go? Well, your stuff's in the garage, son. Why don't you go build something in there? He spent his own money to renovate a room that he wasn't even allowed to keep. Another instance of horrible parents. Is it just me, or is banning a student from the bathroom a horrible idea? There was this one student who was basically infamous for wandering the hallways. He would ask to use the bathroom every single day during class. Can I use the bathroom? Again? Okay, fine, but hurry. He would then go and take like 30 minutes. Every time. When I was in school, I knew a few kids like this. Well, anyway, he would be gone for a long time. The teachers would go out, and they would find him just wandering the halls, talking to friends through their classroom door, just killing time. It got so bad that the school banned him from taking bathroom breaks during class, and they sent a memo to every single one of his teachers. Anyway, one day this kid ate fish tacos during lunch, which already, that's a horrible idea. Well, midway through third period, he begins sweating. Ugh. He raises his hand. Can I go to the bathroom, please? My stomach hurts. Nice try. But no. So he tries to keep it together. 20 minutes later, he's practically doubled over. The teacher still refuses. And then it happens. Right there in the middle of class, in front of everybody. Oh! And it's a frickin' mess. Turns out the kid had actual food poisoning. But he wasn't the only kid to get food poisoning. Other kids also had it. But they were allowed to go to the bathroom. He wasn't. The school ended up settling in court with this kid's parents. And they got a good amount of money. Turns out, doesn't matter if the kid was wandering hallways or skipping class, banning them from the bathroom is not okay. But it didn't matter how much money his parents received in the court case. He was still made fun of for the rest of his time at that school. That is messed up. This is what happens when you get locked in the school bathroom. So he asks to go to the bathroom. He walks down the empty hallway, pushes the bathroom door open, and does his business. But when he's ready to leave... What the heck? The door won't budge. It's like somebody locked it from the outside. He's pushing, pulling, nothing. He checks his phone. Crap, there's no signal in here. Now at this point, he's already been gone 8 minutes. So I guess he does the only logical thing. He looks at the ceiling. Crap. He steps on the sink, he pushes open the ceiling tile, and he army crawls through the drop ceiling. Now he thinks he's going towards the hallway, he hopes so, and right when he thinks he's above the hallway, he lifts the tile open, but he falls right through. There you are. Right there was his teacher and the vice principal. What on earth are you doing? The bathroom door was locked, so you climbed through the ceiling? I mean, I couldn't just stay in there, right? Well, you could have knocked or yelled for help. Also, the bathroom's not locked. Here's what happened. When he got in the bathroom and did his business, he was about to leave. And he tried opening the door, but it wasn't the bathroom door, it was the supply closet door in the bathroom. They looked very similar. But he panicked, didn't look around to see if the actual door is right there, so he climbed through the ceiling. You know what? Just come to my office. You're getting detention. And he got a detention for property damage and making terrible decisions. Here's what happens when you punish everybody for one kid's mistake. This teacher caught one student throwing a paper airplane in class, but she gave the entire class detention. Detention for all of you! Every single person, even the kids that were just sitting there quietly doing their work. Well, the entire class was super mad, so they realized if they're gonna get punished anyway, they might as well do something to actually deserve it. So the next day, 10 more kids are launching paper airplanes in this class, mid-lecture, and the teacher doubled down, banned everybody from the upcoming field trip that they've been waiting for months. That's it, field trip is canceled. Now, yeah, that did suck for them. So now at this point, the entire class had nothing to lose. So by week 3, it was basically a rebellion. Every student would take their turn disrupting class, coughing loudly, pushing books off the desk, paper airplanes, humming, spitballs. Teacher kept getting angrier and angrier. I'm gonna fail each and every one of you! The good kids who had perfect records just stopped caring because they're like, this thing started off so unfair. The breaking point came when the principal walked in during a surprise observation one day and found absolute chaos. 27 students standing on their desks chanting, "We hate Mrs. Johnson, we hate Mrs. Johnson," over and over again while the teacher is, "Enough, sit down, I'm gonna call your parents, I'm gonna call your parents." Half the class was facing potential suspension at this point. The principal immediately removed the teacher from the classroom. They did some digging, parents demanded meetings with the school board, and at the end of all of this, that teacher was let go. Well, she retired. Because it turns out if you erase the difference between innocent and guilty, everybody just picks guilty, because at least that way you're having fun. That's nuts. A crazy private school rule. So this private school in a small town had this rule. Nobody's allowed to have curly hair on school grounds. Which, like, what do you mean? But this is serious. One day, this new kid shows up at this school. It's his first day. And you guessed it, he has curly hair. "Hey, I'm Corey." "Oh, Corey, come with me." The principal takes Corey to her office. She pulls out a hair straightener from her desk, and she begins straightening Corey's hair. "When I'm done with you, this hair will be straight." 10 minutes later, Corey leaves the office with a completely different hairstyle. He was incredibly confused and sad. He told his parents, and his parents were ticked off. They complained and complained and complained. But for some reason, this small town, this small school, had a lot of connections, so the rule never changed. Curly hair, not allowed. And that is completely messed up. His little brother took video games so seriously. Every time he lost a match, he would lose his frickin' mind. This sucks! Stomping around, throwing things, and the room right below him was the older brother's. Dude, shut up! His ceiling fan would literally be shaking every time his little brother would lose it. And this went on until 2, sometimes 3 in the morning. Now, he tried asking him all the time, "Bro, can you please be quieter? Dude, it's lagging and I lost the game, this sucks." So he had to get creative. He logged into the house's Wi-Fi router settings on his phone. And whenever his brother began stomping or yelling or throwing things, he would change the Wi-Fi password. Just one character. Here it goes. Well, when you do that, everything in the house would disconnect. He would wait about 20 seconds, and then he would change the password back. Then things would reconnect. Now, at first, this made his brother even more mad, because the game would just be cutting out in the middle of it. But after about a week, something interesting happened. Because every time he would stomp his feet or throw something or yell, he realized the game would get weird. Or disconnect entirely. So it's like Pavlov. Eventually, he just stopped crashing out altogether. Because subconsciously, crash out means Wi-Fi bad. And finally, his older brother was able to get his well-deserved rest. I'm a genius. Ice cream truck pulled into the neighborhood. Music blasts and kids are sprinting up. One little girl ran up with some crumpled up cash in her hand. A couple minutes later, she walks back to her dad. She's not happy. "Hey, what happened?" "I gave him the $10 bill you gave me, but he didn't give me change back. He only gave me a lollipop. He didn't even give me my ice cream." "What?" "Yeah, and then he just drove away." Now, this dad was so mad. Who would frickin' do that to a little kid? So the next day, what that dad did was he drove to Costco and he bought a bunch of boxes of ice cream bars and ice cream treats and brings them back to the neighborhood. He set it up in coolers in his driveway and wrote a big sign. "Free ice cream. Come up, everybody." Everybody is now with their kids in this dude's driveway enjoying some free ice cream. The ice cream truck comes. "Come on, kids." But no one even entertains the guy. He just left. The next day he came back, but this dad was still doing the free ice cream thing. Nobody ever went to that ice cream truck again in that block, and he never returned after a while. Good. What a freaking jerk. Every single morning, this kid bought the same thing from the vending machine. Sugar-free lemonade. Yum. The same vending machine, the same drink, every morning. It was his routine. Well, one morning, he drops his coins in. What the heck? Clink, clink, nothing. The machine is not recognizing this money at all. He tries to press the button to get his coins back, but nothing was happening. Okay, must be broken. So he goes to the office and tells them. They say that they have no control over the vending machines at all. So he wrote on a piece of paper, "Do not use, out of order," and he tapes it to that vending machine. Okay, perfect. Now nobody else will waste their money here. Hero moment. The next morning, he goes to the vending machine and the paper is gone. So he assumes, oh cool, they must have fixed it. What the heck? Still broken. His coins just gone. Nothing's registering. He cannot get his drink. So he's irritated now. He makes another piece of paper. Do not use, out of order. He tapes it on there. This time he checks on it at lunch and the piece of paper is gone. But the machine is still broken. Somebody is taking his paper off but not fixing the machine, and people are probably wasting their money here. He didn't want people to make the same mistake he was doing, but he was like, why are they taking this down? So he goes to the principal again, makes the principal call the vending machine company. They come out, and they fix it. Yeah. But all the money he put in there was gone. They wouldn't give him a refund. But hey, at least he got the vending machine fixed. And he got to have his sugar-free lemonade again. My home office has a window, and it directly faces my neighbor's living room window, 3 feet away. That was Toby. And for 6 months, Toby has not worked a single day without being watched. Every morning at 9 a.m. as Toby's sitting down at his desk to begin his work from home assignments, a tabby cat named Barnaby would take his position in his neighbor's living room windowsill, directly across from Toby. And the cat wouldn't sleep. He would just stare at Toby, right in his eyes, every day. It kind of creeped him out. It was this cat's routine. Well, by month 3, Toby kind of snapped. He decided if the cat wanted a show, he was gonna give him a show. It started with Toby finding a video titled Video for Cats, and he turned it around and faced it right towards Barnaby. Well, Barnaby wasn't impressed. The next day, Tony danced for Barnaby. It wasn't good, but he danced. Barnaby perked up. You could tell. He was responding to this. Well, the next day he put on a puppet show. I'm a puppet. Me too! Oh look, there's a cat! Now I also want to mention that Barnaby was an indoor-outdoor cat. One night as Toby was going to the store, he opens his front door and he sees a dead mouse sitting there on his porch. He got rid of the mouse, but every day after that, he kept receiving more and more items. A neighbor's gardening glove, a Hanes sock, a literal $1 bill. So he installed a camera doorbell to see what was going on, and he found the culprit. It was Barnaby, leaving gifts for Toby every night. It was like he was paying him for this entertainment he's been receiving. And ever since that day, Toby and Barnaby were best friends. Barnaby always sat in that opposite windowsill. Toby was always at his desk working, until one day Barnaby wasn't there. Toby was concerned. The next day, again, Barnaby, nowhere to be seen. So he goes over to his neighbor's house, knocks on the door. Barnaby had passed away. And Toby was heartbroken. Rest in peace, Barnaby. Most teachers use seating charts to help keep the peace, but Mr. Miller used his in a different way. For the first month, Miller studied the room. He figured out exactly who was best friends and who couldn't stand each other. Then he released a mandatory seating chart. Okay, everybody, this seating chart is law, unless somebody has an offer. That's when he introduced the daily waiver. For the price of a premium snack and a cold drink, one student per day could buy their way into the seat right next to their friend. But that's the catch. He only did one trade per class. And it was actually kind of fun. The students loved this. Every morning it was like an auction. So he has to pick out the best of the snacks. I have Takis and a Capri Sun. Nah.
I have milk and tuna.
No, I got Airhead Sour Strips and an Orange Crush. Deal. And that's what he did the entire year. The kids thought it was pretty awesome, so in turn, they respected him, and the behavior was pretty good. The principal thought he was a genius, and Mr. Miller always had the best snacks. He's the new kid at a new school, and there's a big rally happening in the gym. It's packed, he's trying to find a seat, but he doesn't want to be noticed. He's kind of shy. Well, there's music blasting, the bleachers are shaking, he's trying to sit down. He's walking up the bleachers, and he's like, all right, just walk fast, be confident, take a seat, it's not that hard. So he starts jogging. Okay. Well, that's when his foot catches something and he falls down. But as he falls, he grabs onto this one kid. Well, that kid grabs onto somebody else. And suddenly it's this full-blown domino effect. Bodies just tumbling down these bleachers. 25 to 30 kids, all just falling, bouncing, rolling down. And it was loud. The sound was unreal. People were screaming. The music stops. Once the falling was done, there's a pile of humans on the floor of the gym. And then the laughter erupts. One by one, people are getting out of the pile until him at the bottom is seen. He started this! And now everybody's laughing at him. For the rest of the year, that kid was known as Bleacher Boy, but it kind of worked out in his favor because people thought it was hilarious. Nobody made fun of him. They just remembered as the day this kid caused the funniest human avalanche ever. Have you ever wondered how a middle school science lesson could save an entire building from exploding? This 8th grader named John was sitting in chemistry class learning about natural gas. His teacher explained that rotten egg smell isn't actually natural. They add a chemical called mercaptan so people can detect leaks. Your nose can literally smell it at 1 part per billion. Regardless, John thought this was cool. Hey, that's cool. Well, the very next day, during a science lab in a different science class, he noticed a very faint smell of rotten eggs. He raised his hand and said, "Mr. Stevens, I think there might be a gas leak." Well, the teacher brushed it off and said, "John, that's probably from a different experiment or you're making things up." "No, I'm serious. It smells exactly like what Mr. Zern taught us yesterday." But the teacher told him just to sit down and stop disrupting class, please. So John did something bold. He walked straight to the office and he told the principal, "There's a gas leak in the lab. I'm pretty positive." The principal took him very seriously, and he pulled the fire alarm himself and evacuated the entire school. Turns out there was a massive gas leak in the science building. The fire department said that if anybody lit a burner, which they were going to, the whole science wing could have exploded. John literally saved the school because he remembered a lesson from the day before. And yeah, that teacher definitely apologized to him. Big time. That's insane. Everybody liked this one guy. Yo, what's up? Like everybody. He was popular, funny, and he was always the center of every single party. So one night, there's this big party at somebody's house, and everybody's there. It's packed, there's music going, people chilling. Yo, this is a killer party, Johnny. Hey, thanks, man. I'm just honored that you're here. But you see, not everybody liked that kid. I hated him. So the kid that did not like him was talking to his friend. "I just don't like the guy." "Yeah, I don't like him that much anymore either." "Dude, I'm in a group chat with him, and look what he's been saying." You see, he gets shown this group chat, and the popular kid is in this group chat talking trash about everybody, even his friends, even the girls he's currently hanging out with at the party. "Hey, screenshot these and send me them." "Okay, don't say it was me." So he gets the screenshot, and then he plugs his phone into the HDMI port of the TVs in the living room of this party, and he pulls up all the screenshots. He turns off the music. "Everybody, look!" And he has these screenshots of all the horrible stuff he said just right there on the TV. "Wait, what? No. That's not me." People are mad. "No, guys, they're jokes. I'm just joking in these." But it's too late. He had fallen from grace and he was shoved out of that party really quick. The next day he was at school, he went from popular to loser really quick. Hey, that's karma. What happens when the school bully becomes the hero? I'll tell you. This happened at a middle school in Ohio. There was this one kid named Steven, and he was getting bullied every single day by the same group of seniors. He was being shoved into lockers, his lunch tray was getting knocked over, the usual stuff.
I hate my life.
Well, here's the thing. There was another bully at school, the biggest bully, this dude named Jake, and everyone was terrified of him. Well, I guess he'd been watching what had been happening to Steven. I just kept seeing it happen every day. One day something snapped. He sees them bullying Steven, so he walks right up and says, "Hey, look at me! You touch him again, you're gonna deal with me, okay?" The bullies immediately stop. Oh, hey, Jake, yeah, no, whatever, man. We're just messing around, no big deal. We'll stop. And just like that, they stopped messing with Steven. But Jake doesn't stop there because Steven was a new kid at school. He didn't want people messing with him for some reason. So Jake starts walking Steven to class every day, sits by him at lunch, basically becomes his bodyguard. You didn't have to do that, man. Yeah, it did. Teachers are freaking out because they don't know what to do. The biggest bully in school is now protecting the most vulnerable kid in school. Well, here's the thing. Jake got suspended for 1 week because another kid was messing with Steven and he pushed him into the wall. The school didn't care that he was sticking up for somebody, but he didn't complain. And when the suspension was over, he kept being buddies with Steven. And that is awesome. This guy was played. When he was in 10th grade, his crush, named Sarah Lee, was in the same class as him. And him, Sarah Lee, and 2 other people were in a group project together. Well, Sarah tells him, "Hey, Tommy, come here." "Hey, what's up?" "So you're basically the mastermind of our project? Your job is to design the title slide." "Okay, nice." Now, Sarah was super smart, but she told this kid that all he had to do was design the title. She told him that first impressions were everything, and that his creative vision would set the project apart, and they were sure to get an A. And he was like, wow, she must actually like me a little bit. So he spent 6 hours. He was choosing fonts, picking out background designs, making it look absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Sarah and the other group members were in a completely different group chat. They were doing the project themselves. Now, to me, I would have loved to just have to do the title. Well, presentation day comes, and they are called up to the front of the classroom. "All right, you guys, you may start your slideshow." And he was ready for the entire class to see the beautiful title slide he made. Well, it started, and the title slide went up on the projector. And it wasn't his title slide at all. It was just a white background with the name of the project in black font. Wait, I think that, no, it's fine. "All right, everybody." And she presented. They got an A, but that wasn't the thing. This kid was trying to impress his crush, but she didn't care. And she admitted later that she was just trying to mess with him, which is not right. On Friday, Mrs. Gable tried to sound profound. She told the whole class that even when today ends for us, it's still today somewhere else on Earth. She was standing, looking out the windows, trying to sound inspiring. Class, remember, the sun never truly sets on today. Even when we go to sleep in Ohio, it's still very much today in the Pacific. It's a bit of perspective for you, students. Well, fast forward to Monday morning, 8 a.m. Johnny had missed the Sunday night deadline for a very important history essay. Instead of turning it in on Sunday night, he emailed it to Mrs. Gable at 6:30 in the morning on Monday. He got to school and he hoped for the best. Johnny, I got your email. You sent it this morning at 6:30 a.m. Monday. Sunday's over. That's a 0 for lateness, and you know my rule. There are no excuses. Then Johnny cooked. Actually, Mrs. Gable, you told us on Friday that even when today ends here, it's still today somewhere else. And at 6:30 in the morning, it was still 11:30 p.m. in Samoa. So based on your lesson from Friday, it was still turned in on Sunday. You could literally hear the gears grinding in her head. The whole class was staring at her like she had just been checkmated. She didn't find that time fact cool anymore. She sent Johnny to the office for disrupting the lesson plan. Johnny, Mrs. Gable's crashing out right now. Look, you're a menace. You're technically right. I could tell you, hey, doesn't matter, your paper was late, you get a 0. But I think you're smart. So, I'm gonna make her give you a B- if the essay's good, but you gotta promise to stop using the Pacific Islands time zone to bypass getting your homework done on time, okay? I promise, Principal Milkman, and you got a B-. Hell, kid's a genius. The school had the stupidest rule. If it was a super hot day, kids couldn't play at recess. They had to just sit down. But here's the thing that didn't make any sense. They weren't sitting down inside, or in the cafeteria, or anywhere. They still went outside. They just couldn't play. Okay, it's a hot one today, kids. Have a seat. And they would make the kids sit on this black pavement. Ma'am, why can't we just sit inside? It's so hot out here. 'Cause it's recess, duh. 20 minutes later, the bell would ring, recess would be over, kids would stand up, they're sweating profusely, and they would stumble inside. Now, I guess it's better than running around in the heat. You know, kids could pass out. But still making them sit on the ground in the same heat is kind of just as messed up, and they weren't allowed to go inside. I think this was in Arizona. That makes sense. I think. He was 11 years old and he built the best sandcastle of all time. Yes, it's beautiful. It had walls, tower, a drawbridge. There was seaweed that was decorating it. It was pure art. Well, once he finished, he stepped back to admire it. And here comes this menacing teenager. Nice sandcastle, loser. And just kicks the crap out of it. Sandcastle completely destroyed. Yo, what the heck? The teenager left. This kid was upset, but he decided to take action. So he rebuilt, bigger, stronger. And this time, he buried the heaviest, pointiest rock right in the middle of the sandcastle. Covered it perfectly. You wouldn't be able to tell it was there at all. And now this sandcastle looked even better than the first one. It's perfect. But as he suspected, the menacing teenager came by again. Oh, so you're just gonna rebuild it and think I wasn't gonna come back? The teenager pulled his leg back, he's getting ready, and he just kicks it. Remember the rock the kid buried in there? Destroyed this kid's foot. Oops, shouldn't have kicked it, man. The kid limped away, crying to his mom. Some people gotta learn the hard way. Hey, awesome. Why do lifeguards care more about a frickin' sandwich than somebody drowning? This guy went to a public pool, and he got yelled at before he was even in the water. He was standing a few feet away from the pool, eating a sandwich, when the lifeguard blew his whistle. Hey, no food near the pool! Go throw it away and wash your hands! Meanwhile, there's a literal diaper floating in the water, but this lifeguard doesn't care. The guy goes away, tosses the sandwich, and washes his hands, comes back to the pool, and does a cannonball. Hey! No cannonballs! Too much splash! What? But here's the wildest part. He calls this guy up. Come here. And he starts lecturing him. You know, cannonballs cause a huge splash and waves that disrupt other swimmers. He's going on and on. But at the same time, there's literally somebody in the pool actively drowning. Hey, no, you listen to me. No, but there's... The lifeguard doesn't even glance over. Somebody's drowning. Shut up. Luckily, somebody else jumped in the water and saved this guy. But the lifeguard did nothing. Later that day, the same guy the lifeguard was yelling at was drinking a water bottle by the pool. and the lifeguard kicked him out because having unsealed water bottles was apparently against the rules. I don't know, that's just crazy. This guy was standing in line at the grocery store. It's a normal day, and right next to him is the priority lane for elderly people and people with disabilities. So there's chairs there. This elderly couple is sitting down waiting to check out. This guy walks up, cuts right in front of him. Excuse me. Hey man, they're already in line. I don't see them standing in line. He's being real smug. And the two elderly people are just sitting there, very uncomfortable. Well, this guy shuts up, but he's fuming. So he looks in the guy's cart. It's a full camping setup. He must be going to camping like right now. Sleeping bag, marshmallows, instant noodles, portable stove, bacon, and one single can of butane gas. Well, the guy's on the phone. He's loud, completely distracted. So this guy reaches into his cart and takes the butane gas, puts it in his own cart. The dude pays for his groceries, leaves, the elderly couple finally checks out, and this guy goes home. But he's sitting there, laughing to himself, because somewhere out there a man pulled into a campsite, got unpacked, and was getting ready to make dinner, but couldn't find the gas anywhere, which would cause him to take a very lengthy drive back to the store. That is awesome. Freaking bus drivers. Mr. Miller was the kind of bus driver who looked like he hadn't slept since 2004. He didn't care about your safety. He only cared about his blood pressure. And if you broke rule number 1, the whole bus was going down with him. It was 8 a.m. and somebody had the audacity to crack a window to get some air. Well, Mr. Miller hit the brakes so hard, kids in the front row nearly smacked against the windshield. Are you serious right now? If I hear one more click of the latch, I'm turning this bus around and dropping everybody off back at their driveways. It was silent for a while. Then this one kid moved his backpack to let somebody in. Kyle, is that a bag in the aisle? You want me to trip and sue your parents? Pick it up and put it in your lap like a civilized human being. Or get off my bus. Kyle, I got a headache, don't test me. But here's the thing. While Mr. Miller is having a midlife crisis over a window and a backpack, the back of the bus is literally a lawless wasteland. One kid brought a Bluetooth speaker and was blasting Cocoa Melon while 2 other kids fought over a granola bar and a fruit by the foot. Mr. Miller, there's a full-blown fight happening in the back. I don't care! As long as the aisles are clear and the windows are closed, you guys could kill each other for all that I care. They finally get to the school and he opens the door. Get out, all of you, and if I see a single piece of gum on the seats, I'm calling your mothers, especially you, Kyle. That's why you gotta watch out for those bus drivers. This math teacher was a total freaking nightmare. She required every student to have a specific scientific calculator in her class. The calculator cost $100, but if you forgot yours, too bad. She wouldn't lend you one and you were not allowed to share or borrow off of anybody else's when you were in the classroom. Well, one Saturday, a junior named Marcus was biking in his neighborhood when he spots a massive garage sale. Oh, that looks sick. He goes up and takes a closer look and he finds an absolute gold mine. This tech hoarder was selling a box of 15 perfect condition graphing calculators for $1 each. Well, Marcus didn't even blink. He bought all of them. I'm gonna buy all of them. He dropped $15, took everything home, and he realized he was sitting on over $1,000 of technology. Well, the next Monday, he brought these to school to start a little business. He would stand right outside of that rude teacher's classroom door. It would be 5 minutes before the bell, and he would rent them out to students that didn't have these calculators. Hey, psst, you need one? I know she's tough. $5 to rent for the class period. Oh my God, thank you so much. There's a test today. I was gonna fail it. I got you, dog. After a while, word spread and people would just message him like, hey, got any calculators today? I need one for the class. Yeah, I got a few left. I'll meet you by the bathroom in 10. The teacher eventually said that students could no longer rent these calculators, but that rule never really stuck because at that point, she's just using any excuse to fail students. This kid retired at the end of the year, and he sold those calculators to people that would buy them for half the price. But he swears he saved a lot of people's grades that year, and that is respect. Most school pranks involve a mess or a splash, but the great invasion of 2024 was silent, and it only cost $20. It started when an 8th grader found a bulk listing of sticky googly eyes on the internet. Oh, I'm getting these. And he brought those to school, and he recruited 6th graders. I'm giving each of you 500 sticky googly eyes, and you are to put them everywhere. They were his 6th grade deployment team, and by the next day, the school had eyes everywhere. The fire extinguishers looked surprised. The water fountains were looking suspicious. Every single locker had eyes on it, watching students as they walked down the hallways. Yo, dude, there's eyes everywhere. School administration went into full-blown panic mode because it was basically an infestation. You couldn't look anywhere without seeing eyes. I want names. I want receipts. We must get to the bottom of this. But it was impossible to find find out who did this. The breaking point happened on a Thursday. The lunch lady was preparing burgers for lunch. She opened up the fridge to grab the tray of patties, and what she saw, every single burger patty in that fridge had two eyes looking up at her. She walked out that day. The school spent weeks peeling off these eyes. Eventually, they were all gone. Well, almost. They missed one. High up on the wall in the back of the gym, right next to the school's championship banner. One last eye. Years later, they still talk about it. See that eye up there, kid? Yeah, what is it? Let's just say there was a time where everything in this school had eyes.
And it was beautiful.
Kid saved the school dance. It was middle school, and the spring dance was canceled because of budget cuts. The school said they couldn't afford it, and everybody was devastated. Well, this one kid notices something. In the basement of the school, there were 3 vending machines, all of them out of order, but all of them stacked with food and snacks. They've been there for months, maybe more than a year, but he knew about this because his uncle was the janitor, and he used to hang out in the basement with his uncle. This kid was also smart. He realized that these vending machines used standardized 7-pin locks. Pretty sure I can open these. So he looked online and he found out that you could just buy a replacement key. So he did. Comes in the mail pretty quick. He goes down there one day, unlocks the vending machines, and takes all the snacks out and puts them in a big duffel bag. Then he sets up during lunch for the next few days, selling everything. Chips for $1, candy bars for 50 cents. Kids are lining up because the school snacks were super overpriced. The thing is, he's not keeping any of that money. Every dollar goes straight to the dance fund. He keeps this going because he had a lot of snacks from those vending machines. Within 2 weeks, he raises enough money to be able to afford all the school decorations, the food, the punch, everything. He goes to the principal. Hey, so I know everyone was so excited about the dance and they're sad that it's not happening, but I raised some money and I can afford the entire thing. The principal's like, all right, let's do it, kid. They use the gym. School all agrees. They never found out where that money came from. They were just grateful. This kid saved the school dance, and everybody had a great time. It's beautiful. Gotta respect the hustle. Have you ever wondered how some parents can be so cruel? There was this family where the dad had a rule for everything. No phones at the dinner table. No friends over without a 48-hour notice. Bedtime at 9 p.m. sharp, even on weekends, no exceptions. And his teenage daughter had to keep a handwritten log of what she did every single hour of every single day. And if you don't do it, you're in big trouble. Which is completely insane. Well, one day, this girl forgot to log what she did after school, and her dad completely loses his mind. Takes her phone, her laptop, her journals, her books, and her TV, everything she enjoys, and he locks them in the garage. You can have them back when you write me an apology letter. Well, she wrote one. Not good enough, do it again. Then she wrote another one. Not good enough, do it again. She did it like 30 or 40 times before she just gave up. She never gets her stuff back, and the dad doesn't budge. He keeps saying, I told you, write me an acceptable apology and you get it back. But nothing was ever good enough for him. After this girl turned 18, she never spoke to her father ever again. And I think she's way better off. That's messed up. A substitute teacher walks into class. She's taking attendance, butchering every single name. She gets through everything, but then someone's like, miss, you forgot about Denise. Oh, Denise, yeah, she's here. Right there. And the kid points to an empty desk. The substitute's like, I don't see anybody there. But then another student's like, she's just very quiet. But yeah, she's here, see? Okay. The sub then manually put in Denise's name on the sheet and wrote next to it, here. 10 minutes later, the substitute's handing out papers. Someone says, hey miss, don't forget to give Denise one. And the sub does. Oh, you're right. My bad. Here you go, Denise. Miss, she also needs a pencil. Oh, okay, here, Denise. So now, obviously, no one is sitting at that desk. But this teacher is going along with it? Or maybe she's actually believing that someone is there, but she just can't see them? By the end of class, she's talking to this empty desk like it's a real person. Okay, does everyone understand today's lesson? Denise, how about you? Yeah, she gets it, miss. And on the sub sheet to turn into the teacher, the substitute wrote, Denise was quiet today, but she completed all her work. Overall, class was great. The next day, the real teacher comes back and reads the notes. Class, who the heck is Denise? And everyone burst out laughing. I bet they had that sub thinking she was going crazy. They respected Denise though, huh? Every school had a dead zone. A room in the basement or a locked corner of the gym where chairs and desks go to die. Most people see a pile of trash, but to Mr. Henderson, it was a gold mine. The school budget for furniture was pretty much zero. If a chair leg snapped or the top of a desk cracked, it wasn't getting replaced. So for a decade, the chair graveyard grew. They see a mess, but I see a spare heart for the chair in room 203. Mr. Henderson didn't just guard the room. He was pretty much a furniture surgeon. He had a specific system. When one chair broke, he knew which piece to grab from the graveyard. He was swapping around parts like he was Frankenstein. See, this one can be saved, but this one's too far gone. Except that leg is looking pretty nice. I'll take this and I'll put it here.
It's fixed.
Well, the legend started when a group of 10th graders tried to steal a few chairs. So they go into this graveyard. Quick, grab one. So they tried to grab a few chairs, but this is when it happened. They pulled out one chair and the entire mountain collapsed right onto them. And Mr. Henderson was in the corner of the room watching. Well, boys. Trying to steal my stash? He obviously helped them up and gave them a few band-aids for their scrapes. And the punishment for breaking into the room and trying to steal the chairs, they had to reorganize it and stack everything back up perfectly. You gotta love Mr. Henderson.
Fourth grader could pull his tooth out. Like fully out. Nobody knew why. Then he would put it back in and it would fit perfectly, like a Lego piece. The first time he did it, people were like, yo, what was that? That was crazy, do it again. By the next day, everybody had heard about this kid's tooth thing, and they were lining up. Yo, do the tooth thing, please let me see it. And he did it every so often, but people kept asking him this for months, and it got old, so he started charging. Okay, I'll do it for a quarter. Fine, here. Well, now it's a business. But here's the rule. Only one person per quarter. If 4 kids want to see it at the same time, it's $1. And if you give him a quarter, he does it, but you missed it, that's that. You pay, you watch him do this tooth thing, you move on. By the end of the month, he's got bags and bags of quarters. People are actually paying this guy. Teachers try to shut it down eventually, but by that point, the tooth wouldn't fit in anymore. He made his money, and nobody ever knew how he was doing that with his tooth. Hey, you gotta respect the hustle. Most kids start a lemonade stand to make some extra cash, but Dax was playing a much darker game. He opened a barber shop in his garage, and even though his fades were terrible, every kid was lining up for a $5 buzz cut. Step up, who's next? It was like the social event of the summer. Everybody was hanging out, listening to music, laughing at how bad the haircuts were. Bro, you look goofy. What? But Miles noticed something weird. After every haircut, Dax was picking up some of the hair and putting it in a Ziploc bag. Once the day was over, Dax had cut like 15 people's hair. Miles stuck around and asked him, bro, why were you putting your hair in bags? Hey, check this out. He brought him to a shelf, and on that shelf was hundreds of Ziploc bags. Each of them had hair in it, and each of them were labeled. This is Miles from August 12th. This one is Cooper from July 4th. Look at all these. I had the genetic blueprint of the entire 8th grade right here, labeled and dated. Miles just laughed. Bro, you're weird. But Dax leaned in. Everybody thinks I'm a bad barber, which is true, but they don't realize I got a much bigger plan. Next time someone does me dirty, steals my seat at lunch, makes fun of me, I'm gonna find a crime scene anywhere, and I'm gonna drop their hair right in the middle of it. What? Let's say Miles calls me a loser. Well, I hear sirens. I follow the sirens. A crime scene. There was a murder. Miles goes right on the floor. The police. Whose hair is this? They go to the computer. It's Miles. Miles goes to prison for murder. Bro, that is so messed up. And it was. And obviously, that really wouldn't work. But Miles made sure to stay Dax's friend, just in case. You would hate for some of his hair to end up at a crime scene. Here's what happens when your coach smashes your phone. This school's basketball coach was pretty intense. All right, huddle up, everybody. Time for team talk. It was one day after practice, and everybody was huddled up by the coach for like a regroup thing. But this kid named Johnny was on his phone. Hey, Johnny, come on, man. This is team huddle. Give me your phone right now. Johnny hands it over, thinking he's just gonna get a lecture. Fine. Coach takes the phone, walks straight into the equipment room, and slams the door. And then everybody hears it. The sound of smashing, cracking, screaming from the coach. Johnny's stomach drops. His phone was brand new. His parents saved up for 3 months to get it for him for his birthday. He's shaking. He's almost crying. The coach walks back out, holding a mangled piece of metal and glass. Here's what happens when you're not paying attention, kid. Johnny notices something immediately. The mangled phone was way too light. He flips it over and realizes it's not even real. It's a dummy phone from the school drama department. Your real phone's in my office. Maybe now you'll lock in during team time, okay? From that day on, Johnny left his phone far away in the locker
during practice.
Dude, that coach is kinda awesome.
It's lunch. One group goes to sit down at their normal spot, but another group's already sitting there. This is our table. We've been sitting here all week. Nobody moves. It's a standoff. That's when somebody from one of the groups says, "Hey guys, why don't we all just share the table?" So they all cram into this one table. Awkward small talk at first. Then somebody from group A comments, "Yo, aren't you that guy that cried during the fire drill? It was one time, dude. The alarm was loud." Group A starts laughing. Well, group B fires back. "Well, didn't you fail the easiest history test last semester? At least I didn't pee my pants during prom." Now it's on. Insults are flying. Old drama resurfacing. One kid slaps another guy. Cat. A teacher walks over. "Hey, what's going on here?" Both groups go silent. "Nothing. We're just bonding." "Yeah, sure you are." The teacher walks away. For the rest of the lunch, they sit there silent. But the next day, they both sat at that table again, and instead of insults, they were actually telling stories and laughing. So, I don't know. I think they all became friends. Senior year, middle of class, when all of a sudden people hear, "Look, a horse!" People step out into the hallway and they see it. There's a horse just trotting down the hallway. The principal gets on the intercom and is like, "Everybody stay in your classrooms." Yeah, nobody listened. Kids are pouring out trying to see. They got their phones out.
Yo, whose horse is that?
The funny part is, this one teacher, he encouraged it. He told one of the kids in his class, "Hey, Billy, come here." "Yeah, what's up?" "Dude, I dare you to go ride that horse."
Okay.
So now you have this horse trotting down the hallway, a bunch of students standing to the side, filming it, and this one kid jogs up and hops on the horse. People are losing their minds, and at this moment, the horse is heading right for these big doors in the edge of the school, and students run up and they open the doors. That's when the kid who jumped on the horse is like, "Go!" And he gallops right outside the school. Now, the school was right next to these farms, so that's obviously where the horse came from, but this kid just goes. He's now outside of school on this random horse that somehow got in, galloping around fields of corn. And honestly, that would be the best day of school ever. She made her students come in on Saturdays. This 10th grade teacher, Mrs. Hayes, spent 6 months trying to make it mandatory for students to come in on Saturdays. But the principal, "It's a weekend, Hayes. You can't force kids to come in." Mrs. Hayes didn't argue much. She just smiled and went on her way. But she spent the next 3 weeks building a secret final exam. Friday afternoon, 3 p.m., the entire class gets an email. "Saturday session. Not required, but encouraged." About a quarter of the students showed up. The rest of the class didn't because, well, it was a Saturday. "Good morning, scholars. I'm about to share with you something exclusive." She then taught what was going to be on next week's exam. But then she passed out a packet. A cipher code. A code that would directly relate to how the students filled out the test. And if you didn't have this code, you would fail the test. Well, Monday comes around, and she passes out this 50-page packet, and it looks like it was written in Egyptian. Miss, I can't read this." "The translation guide was provided during our Saturday session. You have 45 minutes to complete the exam." Absolutely insane. She gave students a key code on that Saturday to a test that she wrote in her own made-up language to trick the other students. That's nuts. The parents rioted, the principal got involved, but somehow she didn't get in trouble at all. "Mrs. Hayes, hey listen, the Saturday session was optional, but I can still make the test whenever I want, right?" And I guess she was right. That's crazy. Here's what happens when you ban food delivery at school. One Friday afternoon, the school sends out an email. "DoorDash and Uber Eats and all delivery apps are banned." And they did this because they wanted the students to spend money in the cafeteria, like $7 for a piece of pizza. Well, Monday morning, this kid named Tyler realizes he has a free period right before lunch, and he also has a car. Vroom vroom. So, right before his free period, he tells some people. And he begins taking orders. "Okay, I got 5 people for McDonald's, I got 3 people for Wendy's, and I got 7 people for Taco Bell." So during his free period, he would take all the orders and he would go and get all this food. And when he had the people give him money, he always made sure they gave him a bit more than the order actually cost. So he was making profit. By the end of the week, he had done 50 orders. He would get the food during his free period, and during lunch, he would just pass it out. Be discreet. He would put all the food in regular brown paper bags before he brought them to the customers, so the school didn't see the actual fast food bags. Genius. And the cafeteria line began getting smaller and smaller every day, while this kid's orders began getting bigger and bigger. It got to the point where he couldn't accommodate all these people. "What do you mean you can't take my order? I've got like 30 people to feed today." The school tries to shut this down, but the kid was allowed to leave during his food period. He was basically just sharing the food with other students. so they couldn't. What they had to do was lower the prices of cafeteria food. And then this kid's business began to dwindle, but it still kept going because outside food was still way better than school food. Gotta respect the hustle. This kid's a diabolical genius. There is this kid at one school named Theo, and he had a connect at the front office. Bada bing, bada booty.
What?
Now his school's lost and found was always stacked. People lose stuff constantly. Phones, AirPods, expensive jackets, you name it. So, come here. Here's how it worked. His friend at the office would text him whenever something good came in. Theo would swing by, take whatever it was, and just walk out with it. Nobody questioned it because he was always hanging around the office anyway. But here's the genius part. His connect at the office, the person that let him know when stuff came in, would let him know when someone came in looking for their stuff. Oh, you lost some AirPods? Yeah, I can't find them anywhere. Okay, one sec. He would then text his friend. His connect would let him know the person's name. Theo would then find them in the hallway. Hey, I hear you're looking for your AirPods. Oh my god, yeah, thanks. I found them. Okay, what? Give me $40 if you want them back. And he would charge these people if they wanted their stuff back. Not the full price, obviously. Now, Theo was pretty savage. People didn't want to mess with him, and they were so desperate to get their stuff back that they paid him. Did he go to the principal? I'm gonna beat you up. They paid up every single time. He did that the entire school year. Made over $1,000. School eventually figured out what he did and this kid was expelled. But by then he had already made his money and he wasn't gonna give it back. Now I normally would say, hey, gotta respect the hustle. But this one's a little shady. What do you think? No high fives allowed.
Huh?
Why? Because it's assault. That was the actual rule. And no, that doesn't make sense. People couldn't celebrate high five each other. If a teacher saw a high five, they would jump in, pull it apart, and both those kids were getting to frickin' detention. And they always said, aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. So that's dumb rule number 1. Then they started a new rule. The only liquids or beverages that students were allowed to bring into school were water and milk. And if it wasn't water or milk, they would take it away. They would check students' lunch bags every single morning as they were walking into school. Coffee from home? Gone. Flavored water? Gone. Gatorade? Gone. Tea? Get the heck out of here. One student had laryngitis and his throat was hurting him bad. The doctor said he could bring tea with hot honey to school. He even had a note. But the school took that note, ripped it, and dumped that tea out. You know the rules. I hate my life. And this was a kindergarten through 12 school. And these rules applied to everybody. The school also served the same lunch every day. 3 chicken nuggets and 3 carrots. And kids weren't allowed to bring anything else. Nobody knew what the point of this was. But what I do know is that sounds like the worst school ever. This school library charged 50 cents per page to print. This is freaking highway robbery. Students were furious, but the school did not back down. That's when one student decided to act on this. He bought a high-speed wireless printer, shoved it in his backpack, and he set up shop at the back of the library during his free period. He created a burner email address and he told everybody, email me your essays or whatever you want to print, it's 10 cents per page. No questions asked. And business was absolutely booming. Word spread pretty quick, and his email was stocked. And he printed out every single order that came in. He was undercutting the school by 80%. He was making decent cash. He was like the frickin' Wolf of Wall Street in a library. Eventually, the librarians caught on, and they tried to suspend him, actually. But he just said, if you suspend me, I'll make a huge deal about you guys charging 50 cents per page, and I'll take it to the frickin' news. Well, they kind of panicked, and they lowered the prices back to 10 cents per page. But that kid, what a legend. Freshman year, this kid dumped every single drop of soap on the floor of the boys' bathroom. Soap, 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 soap everywhere. Yeah, it was a mess. There was soap everywhere. It was a slippery crime scene. You would think the janitor would come in, clean it up, they would punish whoever did this, and they would refill the soap. But that's not what they did. In fact, they took the soap out of every other boy's bathroom in the school. And they left all of the soap dispensers empty for 4 years. One kid makes a huge mess one time, and now every single boy at the school cannot wash their hands with soap. Yo, this isn't fair at all. It's actually disgusting. And whenever someone complained, the teachers were like, well, you can thank whoever made the mess the first time. And kids started bringing their own soap in their backpacks. But most people didn't, and that's when one kid decided to start a soap business. He bought a bunch of tiny soaps from the dollar store, and he sold them for $1. So he wasn't making any profit, but he was able to provide soap to anybody that had $1. And to this day, pretty sure there still isn't any soap at that school. That's nuts. must clean the dish before you put it in the dishwasher. What? Kenny's mom had this incredibly specific belief that the dishwasher was only meant for sanitizing, not cleaning. If you put a plate in there with a smear of sauce on it, she would pull each and every dish out of there, give you a lecture, and make you wash every dish before you put it back in. Kenny, look at this. A smudge of barbecue sauce. Take these all out, rewash them, and put them in the dishwasher. Kenny spent 45 minutes every single night scrubbing clean plates and cups before putting it in the machine. He'd be there scrubbing, looking at it. Mom, it's literally called the dishwasher. Can't we just start putting them in there and that's it? No, Kenny. He does this for years. Scrub dish, put dish in dishwasher, dishwasher run, dish done. One day he goes to his friend Steve's house. They have dinner there. His mom takes all these greasy, messy, nasty plates and puts them directly in the dishwasher. Huh, so Steve, your mom just puts them in the dishwasher? Yeah, it's a dishwasher, Kenny. It washes the dishes. Bruh. Kenny then realized he spent years doing a pointless task because of his mom's OCD. Mom, Steve's dishwasher cleans their dishes just fine. Yeah, well, Steve's family probably shares a shower towel, so. What do you mean by that? Jeez. I think she was a therapist.
আসতে বলুন ওনার সাথে আমার একটু জরুরি কথা আছে
বাবা
ভাই আমি তো এলাকা ছাড়ার আগে
তুমি একটা গিরাট টুকরা ছেলে যেই ছেলে
তানিয়া আমার পিস্তলটা নিয়ে আয় তো।
টাকা কি দুধটা রাইখে গেলাম
মাত্র সে ফেসবুকে স্ট্যাটাস দিয়েছে সে একটি অনাথ বাচ্চাকে
কত স্যাক্রিফাইস করছি এলাকার বড় ভাই থেকে রিকশা চালক হয়ে গেলাম আর সেটাই করবো যে গরম না আর এই বড় ভাই তোর মায়ের চিকিৎসার দায়িত্ব নিছে সেলিম ভাই ভালোবাসার লেগে জেল খাটছে ভাই আপনি যত কথাই
এই বাড়িতে ওই বদমাইশটার কথা একবারও ভুলে উচ্চারণ করবা না
ভাই মিনিমাম 17 লাইনের একটা কবিতা লেখেন। 17 লাইনের কবিতা
কিন্তু ছাপাই না সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেব আর আমি কি কমো জানো ও তানিয়া আমি ভালো কেমনে বেটা কস না কেন বেটা
এটা পয়রে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো রূপ করে পড়ে যাবো আর তো আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
ও 700 লাইন লিখবো আর বাদ বাকি 300 লাইন আমি লেখা বললাম
একটু নামিয়ে দাও, মানে ও ছাড়া পাক না পাক তাতে আমাদের কি?
কি খবর তোমাদের? কেমন আছো তোমরা সবাই? ভালো তো না? তুমি জানো তোমায় কালকে তো কতবার কল দিছি।
হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি রে এদার রহিন মানা করতেছি কিছু না কিছু। ভাবি আপনি জানেন আমি একবার অসুস্থ হয়ে গেছিলাম, ও আমাকে রক্ত দেয়নি, আর আজকে আপনাকে রক্ত দিয়ে চিঠি লিখছে।
আমাকে বুকিং দিছে মানে আমাকে কে বুকিং দিছে দোস্ত?
তোর যে আশিক আছে না, এখন তো আমার পিছনে লাগছে।
এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয়, আপনি শিখাই নাই তোরা? কেমন আছো তুমি?
ভালো।
আমাকে জিজ্ঞেস করবো না রক্তটা দিবি তুই? আমি কেন রক্ত দেবো? প্রেম খরচ তুই, রক্ত আমার বন্ধু দিছেন আপনাকে অনেক ভালোবাসি ভাবি। আপনার ওর রক্ত যাওয়াটা বিধে হতে দিবেন না ভাবি। 073421924 এটা তোমার নাম্বার না?
জি জি, আপনি কেমন আছেন?
ভালো নেই, আমি ভালো নেই। আমিও তোর মতোই ভাবতেছি, রক্ত যদি দিতে যায় রক্তটা আপনার কাছে এইটা আমার লাস্ট রিকোয়েস্ট ভাবি।
আচ্ছা
কখন আসবে তোদের ভাবি? আর ভালো লাগতেছে না আমার। সে যে কেন এলো
কবিতা লিখতে হইব, কয় লাইন লেখছস দে, নাহলে কিন্তু আমি তোকে পিটামু দে। তাদের
লাগবে হইব না ভাই, এটা স্যার আপনি যেটা করবেন এটা করবো। কোন খারাপই করে কিন্তু কবিতা লিখতে পারবো না।
কোনো মাপ নাই।
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো উত্তরে পড়ে যাবো গা। আর উত্তর আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
এত কিছু ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস, আর প্রেমে ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস না? কথা তো একেবারে ফালায় দেওয়ার মতো না। তাকে যদি তোরা গুলিও করস, আগে সালামটা দিয়ে নে।
আপনার ছেলেকে আমার এত পছন্দ হয়েছে যে আমি তো বিয়েতে রাজি হয়ে গেছি।
বছরেও পড়বো না।
আমি তোমাকে চ্যালেঞ্জ দিলাম, তুমি যদি 7
মাস্তানি মুস্তানি অপরাধ, এই 7 দিন খালি খাবি। আর
এরকম পট্টি দিয়ে রাখছস কেন?
আমি চাই এই মহৎ কাজটার সাথে আপনি থাকেন। আমাদেরকে 100
দুনিয়ার খাসা বাড়া। হ্যাঁ, আরে বেটা বড় ভাইয়ের মতো একটা বড় ভাই মানে টুকুর।
কিন্তু ছাপাই না, সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে। যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা, আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেব। আর আমি কি কমো জানো? তবু তানিয়া ভালো কেমনে বেটা, কস না কেন, বেটা
তোমার আমি আসলে ফুল গাতে আচ্ছা করে বুঝতেছি।
গর্জন করলেই সবকিছু অর্জন হয় না, বুঝছস?
জানি না, শুধু ভাত কেন?